Against Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, part of PK80, presented by State Farm. We're at the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon, day one of this magnificent tournament. 16 teams, 24 games, and 2 brackets. 2 champions will be crowned in 2 side-by-side venues this weekend. We're inside the Moda Center, and this is part of the victory bracket where we saw North Carolina knock off Portland to get our day started here. There's action going on across the street, or 27 steps away, as Bill Walton will inform us. In the motion bracket, in Portland State is leading number 1 Duke. A surprising score to get the motion bracket started.
What is that on the first possession?
There's a full slate of games. No, that's late in the first half.
Late in the first half?
Yes.
Portland State is up top of Duke?
They are.
Oh my gosh.
So excitement there. We'll have some excitement here inside the Moda Center here for game 2 of the victory bracket, along with the Hall of Famer, the Portland legend, Bill Walton. Roxy Bernstein with you. And Bill, I know you love offense. These are 2 teams, I guarantee you, they'll fill it up. Oklahoma through 2 games, the highest scoring team in the country. They've scored 108 points in each of their first 2 games, and Arkansas's put up 93 points per game to start their season.
How perfect to represent all things Nike. Innovation, speed, quickness, getting to what's next. And between these 2 squads, you've got great guards, incredible offenses and coaches, leadership, all the different things. We've got a game. Who can run, who can play, who's in shape.
So Mike Anderson leading Arkansas, and Lon Kruger's Oklahoma Sooners, as the Razorbacks are 3-0 and Oklahoma 2-0, and we're underway game 2 in the victory bracket at the Moda Center in Portland.
Macon, Barford, and Beard out in front for Mike Anderson, just a legendary coach. But Oklahoma, they'll get right up in your face and they'll guard you. And what these 2 conferences have done in terms of changing their style of play.
Rattles out the tip in, and it goes for Adriel Bailey, and Arkansas strikes first.
And the way they get right up and press, full court. Shades of Nolan Richardson, Mike Anderson, a disciple. Who can handle the ball for the Sooners?
And a charge is called, offensive foul on Christian James of the Sooners, the junior from Houston.
Coming down that lane, you got to be in control. And what separates the champions from everyone else is mental acuity and emotional commitment and the decisions that you have to make. And when you're down in that lane, you got to be thinking pass. We just saw North Carolina exquisite in that category. And these 2 teams trying to climb up into that North Carolina level.
Here's a 3 on the way, and it's good. Daryl Macon in the first 5 for the Hogs.
Keep your eye on the big man for Arkansas and Mike Anderson, Trey Thompson, his ability to handle that ball away from the basket, be that high post swing man.
Foul on Daryl Macon of Arkansas.
When the double team comes, don't wait until they close out on you. Get rid of that ball.
Freshman Trey Young, the McDonald's All-American, who leads the country in assists.
Hometown boy doing well. That sounds like Phil Knight.
Went to Norman North.
How many high schools are there in Norman?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Do you?
No, I've never been to Norman.
I've been to Norman. You really need to get out, Phil. Haven't been enough places.
I've been busy. Now here's his own defense here. Lon Kruger will change it up. He'll be in the Hall of Fame one day himself. Former Big 8 Player of the Year. What a
tough
shot.
3 from Jalen Barford.
Barford's got that power. He's got that strength and the combination of finesse to go along with that power to deliver.
Lining up a 3, too strong from Brady Manick, the freshman for the Sooners.
Huge pressure on Brady Manick here today. Wild runner, but the coaches will live with that.
Rashard Odoms for the Sooners. And a 3 from the corner rattles in for Christian James. Up and down tempo, just like we thought.
But the way that the guards for both teams get up in the guy's face in the backcourt. I just love that kind of basketball. It's very difficult, incredibly demanding, wild shot.
Nadim Latin the rebound.
Kadeem Latin, the grandson of Big Daddy D. Latin.
Deep three from Trae Young, and we're tied.
Trae Young is the do-it-all guard for Lon Kruger. And the ability of his support guys on the wings to fill up the jumpers are going to create so many more opportunities for the Sooners.
Step back three from Barford, his second three.
This game is already, in 2 minutes, has already been better than the game before us here today.
You love this, don't you?
I love offense, and I love skill, and we're seeing both of that right now.
Kadeem Latin too strong, and Brady Manick the offensive rebound. Knocked free, and the Razorbacks have it.
Daryl Macon, Little Rock, Arkansas, Holmes Community College in Mississippi. Wow, what a player.
Loose inside, the Sooners come away with it. Odoms leads the break.
Nice.
Manick trails and slams it home.
Brady Manick, also from Oklahoma. Lon Kruger starting 2 freshmen from the state of Oklahoma here.
Lon Kruger, there he is in his 7th year at Oklahoma. He's the only coach who has taken 5 programs to the NCAA tournament.
Really? Which ones?
Oklahoma.
Right.
He's also taken Florida.
Okay.
UNLV.
Right, that's
Illinois,
3. Okay.
4. Kansas State is 5.
That's where he played, was Kansas State.
And he also coached there.
Okay. And he coached the Atlanta Hawks and the New York Knicks.
Trae Young from the corner. 3 more.
And I thought he was very close to coaching UCLA years ago. But that never materialized. There was a lot of talk. A lot of Bruins were most hopeful.
Foul on the drive. Up and down we go with Oklahoma and Arkansas at the PK80.
It's like Bill Bowerman coaching the track team.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today, 800 State Farm, and in part by Want It All from Nike Basketball.
City, but we 5 districts deep. And it don't matter if you from Southwest or Nopo or Gleason Street. Whether you be kicking it with Bunyan and Kenton or Flannel Rock and Pioneer, the one thing we all agree on is keeping Portland weird. Rip City, Portland. We are Portland, Oregon, home of Nike and host of the PK80 College Basketball Tournament, the largest college basketball tournament ever.
Yeah, now we're talking. Not just the largest, this is the greatest college basketball tournament ever. And Phil Knight grew up in one of those 5 boroughs. He grew up on the southeast side in a neighborhood called Eastmoreland, just down by the Selwood Bridge. On Claiborne Street there. Phil and his 2 twin sisters, his parents, Bill and Miss Knight. Oh my gosh, what a family. Phil lived in the servants' quarters out in the back before going on to Oregon. What a shot.
Another long 3 from Trae Young. Oklahoma 3 of 5 from 3. Arkansas's 3 of 3 outside the arc. Into the key, the runner missed by Barford. And a foul will put Arkansas on the line. When you played for the Blazers, what part of the town did you live in?
I moved a lot. On the go. I would have been good for the motion
by choice?
bracket. No. No, we started in Selwood, quite the adventure. And then we're on Nixon Avenue in West Lynn. That didn't work out so well. And then settled in Northwest Portland. But they kept wanting me to buy the houses I was living in, right? And I said, no, come on, man, it costs too much money. It was $25,000 for the houses. The
Blazers weren't paying you enough?
No, when I came here, I was the highest paid player in the history of all team sports at the time. But the only thing I cared about was that there wasn't going to be anybody to tell me to cut my hair or shave or what clothes to wear. I had 3 major problems here, Roxy.
In Portland?
Yes. Number 1.
Only 3?
No, major problems.
Okay.
Foundational problems. I had no interest in business. I had no idea how to survive in a cold weather climate. And I was hurt all the time. Other than that, things were fine.
Stepping on the end line is Christian James. Sooners give it away.
But I did meet Jeb, who runs TP.com. And I got an Indian teepee early on, and I still have one to this very day.
We've seen it.
Thank you, Jeb. Thank you, Nicole. They live out now in Sisters. And they have the second greatest website, tied with the greatest website ever.
Beautiful. Making a three, and the Hogs are 4 of 4 outside the arc.
This is a team like their coach, the Razorbacks, who will play with a chip on their shoulder. And they come out, they think they're the best, and they think they're going to win this game. They think they're going to win this tournament. And that is a reflection of their coach, Mike Anderson.
A hustle and a whistle on the baseline, and a foul called against Arkansas, going for the loose ball.
Moving without the ball, and that's number one. Again, Trey Thompson setting the whole play up. Dribble handoffs, big body wide screen up there. Mike Anderson, what a coach. How fun. Tremendous history there at Arkansas. One championship in '94, a second place in '95 when George Zedek made Big Nasty look like Big Sissy. 6 Final Fours for the Razorbacks.
The runner, Cameron McGusty with a hoop for Oklahoma. And I'll point it out, Corliss Williamson. That was Bill that said that, not me. I've seen Corliss Williamson.
I'm Bill. Jamani McNeese got to have a big game here. One of the things for the Razorbacks, they have not looked at Daniel Gafford at all.
Long two missed by C.J. Jones. The offensive rebound, Dustin Thomas. And it's controlled by the Sooners.
Beautiful play. I tell you, this guy Macon.
Oh, come hustle from Daryl Macon.
Come by, Daryl, and have a piece of turkey here at the table.
We got to thank Anthony Jordan, our official. He saved our table.
Plenty of turkeys here. How about Andrew Green right at the bottom right of your screen there? That, you talk about chasing your dream.
The table.
You talk about, Phil Knight, the ultimate story of chasing your dream and having it come true. Andrew Green, the same thing. He quit his job at Colorado to come here in pursuit of his dream, Bailey, and now they're happily married. What more could you ask for? Congratulations, Andrew, and thanks for coming out today.
Andrew Green
traveling violation
here courtside as a walk call against Oklahoma.
Dial a violation. Pick a pivot foot, please.
There is Andrew
in the
working
white shirt.
hard. Yes, waving for the camera. Thank you.
I'm the one behind the turkey here.
And the basketball.
PK80.
This
what
is game
a vision.
2.
How many do we get, Roxy?
We get 2 today. We'll get 2 more tomorrow.
Oh,
and 2 more on Sunday as Daryl Macon hits another shot from the outside. 3 threes for Macon.
Well, the greatest athlete in the history of the state of Arkansas is Lance Weir. But the way that Daryl Macon is playing right now, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Lance, the ultra-endurance athlete of the triple millennium.
And a travel called and a turnover on Oklahoma.
The pressure defense that the Razorbacks are always going to put on. But Mike Anderson has to find a way to get Daniel Gafford, just a freshman, 6'11", from El Dorado, Arkansas. Then this guy has got talent, Daniel Gafford. And you have to be able to find a way to incorporate that talent into the flow of the Razorback style.
Jalen Barford has 8.
What's the shooting percentage for the Razorbacks?
They are
sharp.
5 of 5 from 3.
Okay, over and back.
Which is 2 of 10 inside the arc, believe it or not. Turnover by Oklahoma.
So it'll be like Mike D'Antoni and the Rockets. Why take a 2?
3 is better than 2.
Really? Thank you, Galileo. Thank you, Archimedes.
Arkansas looking for their second 4-0 start in the last 11 years. As they're 3-0 with 3 home wins, including beating Fresno State last Friday. In
beautiful pass. There's Gafford.
Down the lane, the spike from Daniel Gafford.
It's got to be the shoes.
8-point lead for the Razorbacks. Matt Freeman from deep. And the New Zealand product hits a three.
What beautiful basketball. Up and down. What's great is that none of the players ever look over at the sideline. Did you ever play basketball, Roxy?
I did.
What was your game like?
I stood
LeBron?
outside the arc and I just shot the ball around.
Were you like LeBron or like Shaq or?
No, I wouldn't compare my game to theirs.
Smooth?
Depending. You know, I could shoot it from long range. I had a little bit of a stroke.
I've seen it.
Yeah. I would compare it to maybe one of your former teammates.
Larry Bird.
No, not him either.
Derek Smith.
You can keep going down the list.
Oh, offensive foul.
Offensive foul. On
Send
Jordan
it the
Shepherd.
other way. What an impressive start by the Razorbacks in every aspect. Offense, defense, teamwork. Macon, Gafford, Trey Thompson. Lon Kruger's got his work cut out for him here. PK 80. And the rain keeps falling.
Daryl Macon in Arkansas knocking him down from long range. Bill, the Razorbacks were 5 of 5 outside the arc.
One of the great things that Mike Anderson does is that he finds these great junior college talents from around the state of Arkansas, and his commitment to bringing the local talent right there to Fayetteville. And this guy right here, Daryl Macon, as well as Jalen Barford last year, they both tested the NBA waters at the end of the season. Didn't really look that promising for him, so they came back. Mike Anderson returns 3 of his top 5 scorers. They're all guards. They've got this tremendous just gem in the rough, Daniel Gafford off the bench. And Trey Thompson is a glue type guy, and I'm watching Trey Thompson play, and I keep thinking of Wes Unseld. One of the greatest starts in the history of professional basketball. Wes Unseld, a Hall of Famer, a top 50 of all time. Wes Unseld, Louisville. Final Four performer against Kareem during that era out there. And this guy, Trey Thompson, his ability to handle the ball, to grab rebounds, not an overwhelming talent in terms of physical, jumping, running, pushing guys around, but he knows how to play basketball. That's an offensive foul. Thank you.
And it's on Jamani McNeese of Oklahoma after a foul was on Dustin Thomas of Arkansas. But that's now 9 turnovers by the Sooners, and we haven't even played 9 minutes in this game.
Yeah, they make a 3 and they're right into it, please. Quit whining and complaining this early in the game, Roxy.
I'm not complaining. I'm just stating they've turned it over 9 times.
Yeah, you sound like,
and that's a problem.
Sound like you're crying over there, please. Turnovers are fine as long as they're not out of omission, where you're standing around doing nothing. Traveling violation.
A walk on Dustin Thomas getting his first action of the season today, as he didn't play in the Razorbacks' first 3 games of the year for a violation of team rules.
What was that?
I'm not sure of what he did. I'm just reporting that that's what Arkansas says it was, a violation of team rules. So whatever Mike Anderson's rules are, he broke them.
So in other words, it was a crime against humanity.
If that's the way you want to interpret it, you're more than welcome to.
We've seen too much of that this year in just our second day on the air.
Here's Jalen Barford in transition.
Beautiful play.
And Barford with 10.
Guard play, yeah. Macon, Barford. Beard will get in there, the little left-hander out of North Little Rock. 3 senior guards here for Mike Anderson.
Razorbacks have led by as many as 8 already.
Lon Kruger, his leading ball player there, Trey Young, just a freshman. Not quite sure.
But a really good one.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure he realized that the pride of these Razorbacks. Yes, now there's Gafford right there. Will somebody please get a rebound?
Gafford just did.
Yeah, I want to see more of those.
Off balance 3, the first miss outside the arc by Arkansas. That's from C.J. Jones.
Jamani McNeese get up in transition.
That was pretty. Trey Young with the scoop.
6'2", just a freshman. One of the top players in the history of Oklahoma.
In the lane, off balance. No good from Barford. Dustin Thomas, the offensive rebound and putback.
Dustin Thomas, transfer from University of Colorado. How about the Buffalo stampeding to a 6-0 start? One of the great starts in Tad Boyle's fabulous career there in Boulder. Got to shoot that ball, Matt.
He did, and it's too strong from Matt Freeman.
If you're playing for Lon Kruger and Mike Anderson, don't ever pump fake. Just keep going.
At the rim and the alley-oop to Daniel Gafford.
So the complaint from the Sooner bench is that that ball was in the cylinder. Now, that's what they used to do with Wilt all the time. And then they had to change the rules.
In and out and a three in transition from Cameron McGusty.
Wilt, from the Big 8, now the Big 12 with only 10 teams. Wilt always pointed out that when he played, they had to change the rules to make it harder. And when the new guys play, they make the rules easier.
Here was that alley-oop to Gafford.
And is the ball in the cylinder, which would be a violation? I'm going to say yes.
Come on, Bill, we like scoring.
Sure we do, but you have to have rules. I mean, one of the things that's supposed to separate.
You're talking about rules?
One of the things that's supposed to separate our country, our culture, is that we live by the rule of law. Please, discipline, organization. There's
rules like cut your hair.
I did cut my hair.
Well, clearly, because John Wooden had rules.
Right, and he always let us know it. The similarities between Phil Knight's coach Bill Bowerman from Fossil, Oregon. You ever been there?
I have not been to that town.
From Martinsville, Indiana. You ever been there?
I have not. As Daryl Macon with 4 threes.
I tell you, the guard play that we saw from North Carolina, now followed right up here by Macon, just been superb. But the facial resemblance of Daryl Macon to Rod Strickland.
I do see a resemblance.
So I asked him about that yesterday. I got the biggest blank stare of my life. Like, who is Rod Strickland? Rod Strickland played for DePaul, by the way.
And Rod Strickland used to make plays like Trae Young just made.
Speaking of DePaul, Dave Leto, right? You know the coach for DePaul?
Yes, I do.
Second time around for him. He's in the evening show tonight. So I was talking to him at practice yesterday. And Dave Leto, who grew up in New Bedford, Massachusetts, Celtic fan and everything, down by Providence on the southern end of the state of Massachusetts. Dave Leto, when he was growing up, he's 8 or 9 years younger than we are.
You're saying that we're the same age?
Me and my teammates and my friends.
Okay.
Right? And so the greatest teammate I ever had was number 20 for the Portland Trailblazers, Maurice Lucas. Big Luke. And so he was the Big Luke in his neighborhood on his team. And it was so inspirational to hear him tell that story of his childhood dream and being Maurice Lucas on his level.
You name your son Luke. Is it after Maurice
Lucas?
Yes.
We have 4 sons.
That I do know.
Yes.
But Luke is named after Maurice Lucas.
Without question, yes. The greatest teammate that I ever had, Maurice Lucas. The greatest trailblazer of them all. Beautiful spin move.
Cameron McGusty with the hoop for the Sooners.
So McGusty's one of those wing guys for Lon Kruger who's able to be out there playing off the ball with Trae Young.
Coming up, another installment, Walton's World.
I love my life. I love Oregon. I love the Tillicum Bridge, the longest non-car bridge in America.
Crossing.
Tillicum, what's that?
Tillicum Crossing, it means of the people. It's the largest car-free bridge in North America.
Wait a second. This bridge right here is the largest car-free bridge in America?
That's correct.
I'm moving here. How many people cross this bridge every day?
On bicycles, more than 2,000 people
2,000 a day.
Yeah. What makes it so special is its suspension design. If you see those beautiful white poles going up into the sky, there's cable tension going through that actually holds the bridge in place.
And you can ride at night as well?
24/7.
This is the ultimate right here. The
this
Tillicum
Bridge.
This
is the ultimate for sure.
Hey, why don't we go for a ride?
I would love to go for a ride.
I love my bike, Roxy. I can't believe, though, we didn't have helmets on. They don't provide helmets with those orange rental bikes, which we saw so many of them over in China. In China, they cost 10 cents an hour to rent. It's a little bit more than here, but you can leave them anywhere. And right there on the west end of the Tillicum Crossing Bridge is the largest bike valet in the United States. It's free. And it's fantastic. But they have over 100 places, portals, where you can get those orange bikes all around the city. And it's just another example of the future of Portland: sustainability, renewable energy, bicycle riding, environmental concern, clean air, clean water. What more could you ask for? And great basketball. PK80.
This is game 2 of the victory bracket. Is Cameron McGusty looking for a foul call?
You have to at least hit the rim, please.
Game 1 in this building.
Give it to Trey Thompson.
Knock off Portland.
Give the ball to Trey Thompson down there, please. Every time he's had it, good things have happened for Mike Anderson.
He has 4 assists already in this game.
And they're winning. That's the most important thing.
Ball knocked free, and Kadeem Latin ahead to Trae Young. Little out of control. Young lost the handle on it. There's Christian James for the Sooners.
All-out attack on offense.
8 straight for Oklahoma to close within 2.
Another great lesson in life from PK80, Shoe Dog. Define the terms of the conflict. Know how to beat the bigger guys. And what a challenge that was for young Blue Ribbon Sports 55 years ago. Great defense.
Stays with Arkansas, 9 on the timer. Here is our victory bracket. The winner of this game will play North Carolina in the first game here tomorrow.
What time is that?
That'll be at 3:30 Eastern, so 12:30 here.
Okay.
And then in the motion bracket, Duke is trailing Portland State at the half in game 1 of the motion bracket, just 27 steps away.
Have you ever been to a game at Portland State?
I have not been to a game at Portland State, no.
I went to a game at Portland State when I lived here 43 years ago. I saw Freeman Williams, who was the nation's leading scorer, score 84 points in a college game.
Jalen Barford with 13 to lead Arkansas, and they're up 5.
Wow, what a game that was. Brady Manick, beautiful.
Kadeem Latin the stuff.
So his grandfather, Big Daddy D, was the anchor, was the starting center for El Paso when they changed the world.
When they were Texas Western.
Glory Road, when they won the championship with Bear Haskins and all the fantastic players.
First points for Anton Beard of Arkansas.
Nolan Richardson went to El Paso. Now that's a nice play there.
Jordan Shepard the bucket.
Jordan Shepard, a sophomore from Asheville, North Carolina, one of the premier bike riding destinations in the world. We're planning a ride there, too. We got a lot of things going on, Roxy. Nice passing.
And the block by Manick. But the recovery, and Adriel Bailey with the hoop. You never invite me into these bike rides.
You haven't told me you like your bike.
I love my bike.
Are you a rider? You want to go?
Not in your classification.
I'm a joyrider.
Trae Young, another deep 3. 16 points for Young.
Young's got 16 points. Where'd that come from? I thought Macon was totally dominating him.
3 threes for Young. Comes into the ballgame averaging 11.5 assists a game.
Well, they've played 2 games coming in here, and each game they've got 108 points, so that's the kind of ball that I love.
Jalen Barford with a tough shot.
Great defense by number 13, Jordan Shepard.
Trae Young over the corner. And a 3 for Christian James, and Oklahoma has the lead.
What a recovery. This battle to take on North Carolina between the 4th and the 5th seed in PK80.
Sooners have made their last 5 shots.
What's the scoring record in history of PK80?
And the floater by Anton Beard. As Arkansas seesaws back in front. Well, in game 1 today, North Carolina said it.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling we could get it broken the way these 2 teams are playing.
I love being part of history. This is a great area for history, too.
Loose ball, it's secured by Bailey in Arkansas.
Did you know Lewis and Clark?
I did not happen to know them personally.
Beautiful.
I know about them.
Oh, you read Stephen Ambrose's Undaunted Courage?
Anton Beard with the hoop. I haven't read it.
I'm speechless. I'm shocked, Roxy. Please.
First time in your life you're speechless?
Well, yes.
Trey
Well,
Young from way out there.
how long have you known that we were going to be doing PK80 in Portland, Oregon, the Willamette Valley, the end of the Oregon Trail? Lewis and Clark, beautiful play.
Christian James is fouled by Jalen Barford. We promised Bill a high-scoring game, and we're getting one from Arkansas and Oklahoma.
I love it when you deliver, Roxy. Spinning.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent at 800-STATE-FARM, and in part by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
Let it rain. Rain is life.
The freshman for the Sooners off to a tremendous start. 16 points, and this one has already been a Big 12 Player of the Week.
And the Big 12 Newcomer of the Week as well.
So the McDonald's All-American, who chose to stay home. He could have gone anywhere he wanted to go. Put up 22 against Ball State last time out, already with 16 points. We have 3:18 to go in the first half at a 3-point lead for the Razorbacks.
He's averaging 11.5 assists per game.
Which is #1 in the country. Tied an Oklahoma freshman record with 13 assists last time out against Ball State, as Christian James will go to the line for the Sooners.
Have you been to the new Griffith Family Performance Center on campus there?
I have been there.
You have been there?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
It's beautiful.
Okay,
State of the art.
What do they have there? It's a training center, health and wellness for all the student athletes, right?
All the amenities, everything you could imagine for peak performance that you'd want.
So is it sort of like your house?
No. In fact, it's probably the 180 from my house, the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like Phil Knight's?
State-of-the-art?
Is it like Phil Knight's house?
I have not been to Phil Knight's house. Have you?
No. Have you been to the Nike campus?
I have been there.
Beautiful pass. This guy Trey Young's a good ball player.
Christian James missing a three. And here comes
love
Arkansas.
Ball movement.
Jalen Barford launches. And it's Brady Manick chasing it down for the Sooners.
Danny Ainge is in heaven. Danny Ainge is beaming. Great closeout defense.
And a foul
Offensive
called and a
foul.
charge against Christian James, his second. 2-point lead, Arkansas on top of Oklahoma, coming up on the Land Rover halftime report. Take a look into what's happening with Duke as they're getting all they can handle and then some from Portland State in game 1 of the motion bracket. A 4-point lead for the Vikings at halftime. College basketball, the best stuffing you could want here on Thanksgiving. That's all coming up on the Land Rover halftime report. You like stuffing?
I guess.
You guess?
I guess.
You're no fun.
I like fruit, vegetables, fish, chicken. I like Oregon. I like Chinook salmon. I was sad when they buried Celilo Falls in the Dalles Dam. Celilo Falls, inhabited by Native American and First Nation people for 15,000 consecutive years. And then they came in and they built one of the 14 dams on the Columbia River at the Dalles. And it's gone forever.
So Anton Beard at the line, senior from North Little Rock. And Beard has 7.
How many states border Arkansas?
Let me count. Texas,
Yes.
Oklahoma,
Yes.
Louisiana,
Yes.
Tennessee,
Yes.
any part of Kentucky?
Mississippi.
Mississippi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike Anderson, who prides himself on 40 minutes of basketball, end to end, maximize every second of your life. tell you, this guy, Daryl Bacon, is a beautiful player. Send it back.
Kadeem Latin.
Big Daddy D beaming down in Houston. Whoa.
Augusti missing in transition.
Please, make a layup.
Here comes Arkansas.
This is Bacon here. Macon, excuse me. You ever been
You
to
hungry?
Macon? No, I'm doing fine.
Okay.
You ever been to Macon, Georgia?
I have not been to Macon,
The
Georgia.
antebellum capital of the South. Fantastic.
Justin Thomas the miss, and the rebound falls to Young.
I was hoping for more from Daniel Gafford early on here. Certainly he's just a freshman, but what a physique.
Brady Manick off the feed from Young.
Manick has been everywhere. He's got great size there. A real nice stroke and a sense of understanding where the ball is going to be before anybody else does.
10 for Anton Beard, who's having a terrific first half.
Did you ever read A Sense of Where You Are?
I have not read it, Phil.
Okay.
A timeout taken by the Sooners. Just over a minute left in the half. Arkansas by 4. The PK80 in Portland.
Just enough time for you to order that book on Amazon.
The championship tomorrow, Friday, the Bad Boy Mowers battle for Atlantis between number 5 Villanova and Northern Iowa, noon Eastern on ESPN2. The battle for Atlantis. Yeah, surprising run by Northern Iowa to the championship game.
Northern Iowa's a good team, good
They
program
are.
there. Villanova, Jay Wright. I can't believe Villanova's not here. I mean, here we are. We are on the Cascade Arc of the
Well,
Pacific
somebody
Ring
has to
of
be
Finals.
there in that tournament.
Why?
Because those
Because
other
this is
tournaments have to go on.
Well, there's a lot of other schools. How many D1 schools are there? 350?
351.
351. I was close.
You were.
Sort of like on my free throws. Anyway, we are in volcanic territory here. 20 major volcanic peaks here in the Cascade Arc. 4,000 separate vents. And what we're seeing here with the offense, I'm going to count it now as 4,001 volcanic vents.
This game is
right
next
there.
one.
This is the next volcano. We're there. I mean, we're talking about a final score of 110 to 107.
Well, Arkansas is 7 of 10 from 3. Oklahoma is 6 of 14 outside the arc.
700 miles of volcanoes here. Beautiful rebound. Rebound of PK80 right there. Throw it down here, Daniel.
Gafford runs the floor, will get to the line, and he started it with that rebound. Foul against Kadeem Latin.
Mike Anderson. Marshita, his wife, is here. Whole family
Roy
community
Williams
coming
is
out.
here. He gets the winner of this game.
Right, that's why he's here. And it's probably not the best day to go out and play golf.
Although it was pretty nice when we came in here this morning.
65 degrees. Mostly sunny.
One more for Gafford. Top-rated prep player last year in the state of Arkansas.
But Trey Thompson's from Arkansas. Gafford's from Arkansas. The two of the three guards are from Arkansas. One of them's from Tennessee. Macon, Beard from Arkansas.
Trey Young way off with that one.
Push the ball, space the floor.
Daryl Macon to the basket. And
Great
Macon,
shot. Right in Trey Young's
14
face.
for Macon.
Over the top, come on, Kadeem.
He lost it.
Macon.
And hustling back is Macon.
Oh.
Here comes Trey Young. Final 10 seconds of this fast-paced first half.
Macon can't get up.
And Brady Manick finishes for Oklahoma.
Can only hope that floor is dry enough.
And
Traveling
a travel on
violation.
Jalen Barford will give Oklahoma one last crack at it.
Wow. End-to-end action. The volcanoes are erupting. What are some of the volcanoes that you like here on the Cascade Arc? You know, 12 of them are over 10,000 feet high. 2 of them over 14,000 feet.
2.2 to go in the half. Young.
Great defense.
Shot blocked by Barford, and it's halftime here at Game 2
Oh, banked in.
of the victory bracket, but it was well after the horn. Won't count,
please. Come on, it's Thanksgiving. Give it to him. Where's your spirit?
Trae Young was 16, but Arkansas hitting 7 first-half threes, and a 50-45 lead for the Razorbacks over the Sooners. Coming up after the break, it'll be this halftime report with Matt Schick, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams. 50-45, Arkansas leading Oklahoma at the half.
What a game.
Watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, part of PK80, presented by State Farm. Fast-paced first half between Arkansas and Oklahoma. 5-point lead for the Razorbacks as we get ready to start the second half. And it was the guards, Bill, getting up and down. Daryl Macon for Arkansas, Trae Young for Oklahoma.
I love guards, I love skill, but I also love discipline, and that's what we're going to need here in the second half to continue the best basketball played ever in the history of PK80. Daryl Macon was superb. He went right at Trae Young early. He got an age advantage, but Trae Young, he came right back up. Just a freshman from Norman North High School, one of 2 high schools in the city of Norman, and his game, superb. Not one of those guys who's just going to overwhelm you with his physical strength and superiority, but these 2 guys, what a show, and there's 20 minutes to go. In Shanghai a week ago, was that a week ago?
That was a little over, it was a couple weeks ago.
Anyway, the first half was great there. The second half, nobody came out to play. Who can play right now? Who's in shape? Who really wants this? Let's go.
Well, shooting was on display. Arkansas had 7 of 10 threes in the first half of this game. Oklahoma made 6, but 12 turnovers by the Sooners really hurt them in the first half.
Well, the offense was very reminiscent of Scotty Thurman and Corey Beck from years gone by for the Razorbacks.
Christian James fires a 3. And the rebound to Trey Thompson for Arkansas.
Trey Thompson has been the most valuable player in this game to date. Look at that handoff. Always in perfect position.
From the corner, Jalen Barford missing a 3. Here comes Oklahoma and Rashad Odoms.
As important as finishing is the start. You got to come out first possession. Make your opening shot.
Brady Manick missing a 3 in the rebound. Anton Beard. Oklahoma's made just 2 of their last 12 shots going back to the first half.
Yeah, if they make 1 3, they're right there in this game.
Sooners push it.
Oh my God.
Kadeem Lutton flies to the hoop.
Throw it down, Kadeem. Big Daddy D down in Houston, just glowing with pride. You a grandfather yet?
No, I'm not, Phil.
How old are the children?
My daughter's 10 and my son's 7.
Berkeley and Jake both here today. Happy
They
Thanksgiving to them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
by
for
the table.
I'm sorry for ruining it for those young angels.
Shot clock rolling down.
Beautiful pass.
Long 2 from Trey Thompson.
What a game.
Quickly, Oklahoma coming back. Countering is Rashard Odoms with his first points.
One of the great things about this tournament so far, players are not just fouling wildly, carelessly, mindlessly, soullessly.
Off balance, the flip from
Trey
Daryl
Thompson.
Macon, no
Trey
good.
Thompson everywhere. Nice passing.
And a foul will put Adriel Bailey on the line for Arkansas.
Adriel Bailey from Campty, Louisiana. You been there?
I have not been to that specific town. I've been to Louisiana.
Well, I would hope so. The birthplace of some of the greatest sports legends in history. Start with Bill Russell, Casey Jones, Joe Dumars, Elvin Hayes, Terry Bradshaw, Huey Long,
1 out of 2 for Bailey. And Arkansas, who led by as many as 10 in the first half, leads it by 4. Hoping for a rematch with North Carolina, who they played in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year, is Latin with the stuff.
And there's a lot of people in Arkansas that think they got the short end of that deal. That wasn't the feeling in North Carolina. Right down to the wire.
Of course, Tar Heels would go on to win it all.
For their 6th title, Arkansas has 1. And 1 second-place finish the following year.
The 3 off the mark from Jalen
Look at
Barford.
Trey Thompson, the effort, the passion, the pursuit of excellence.
Christian James in transition 3.
Christian James' shot selection leaves a little bit to be desired. Nice.
The lob and the finish inside at the rim by Adriel Bailey.
I love Trey Thompson's game.
Grady Manick lines it up. And here come the Razorbacks and Daryl Macon.
Where's
long pass ahead. Manick hustling, blocks the shot. Rashard Odom to the basket. Fouled, he'll go to the line.
Copperas Cove, the pride of Copperas Cove, Rashard Odoms, just a junior. I asked him what kind of beach they had there at Copperas Cove in Texas.
Did he look at you funny?
Yes. Apparently it's in central Texas.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, but when you say cove, I mean, I can think of Emerald Bay and Lake Tahoe, La Jolla Cove. Hadn't heard of Copperas Cove. I haven't been there either. Do you
1
get
point game.
Do you get to Central Texas much?
Not really. Get there occasionally. And it's out of bounds. And it's out of bounds to Oklahoma.
So you're not in the oil and gas industry.
Last time I checked, I was not.
I'm a solar guy myself. You know Kate Brown, the governor here?
I do know.
She's got a great new initiative that every new home in Oregon, send it back.
Adriel Bailey the block. Barford is fouled. Wave off the shot. Foul first on the floor.
They have to update the rules, please. Every new home in Oregon has to have solar capability from the get-go here. Thank you, Kate Brown.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. Bracket, the winner of our game will get North Carolina, who beat Portland earlier today, to open the PK80 presented by State Farm. This is the victory bracket. Then, as Bill Walton said, 27 steps away. And this was yesterday, walking it. Okay, there's door to door. And that is the Glass Palace, Memorial Coliseum, where you used to play. And that is where Duke is playing Portland State right now in the motion bracket. As Duke now with an 8-point lead on Portland State.
I understand Texas has some players.
Mohamed Bamba?
Yeah. You seen him?
I have not seen him in person yet. I'm looking forward to it. So there's a live look in. The game on the right. Duke is now up 5 on Portland State. The Vikings are giving #1 Duke all they can handle.
Yeah, but are you holding your breath on that upset?
Are you asking me if I'm calling my shot?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But Duke was down 4 at the half. Trae Young knocks it away, and a foul called on Arkansas. And it's on Daryl Macon, his second. We have a 1-point game in this one.
That's not the quickest route to get to the Memorial Coliseum.
But you also have access that most people don't have.
I also have a longer stride than you.
So it's 2 steps of me for every 1 step of yours.
Trae Young, what a ball player.
Razorbacks control.
Beard, Anton Beard. See, we got some guards in this tournament here. We have yet to see Gafford here in the second half.
And a foul called on Rashard Odom of Oklahoma, his third.
What's that guy, Jeff? What's he doing? We haven't heard from him in a while. Just get him over to the Arkansas bench and see what's wrong with Gafford.
He just made that walk that you talked about. He's over there.
It's only 27 steps. Come on, man. Let's get him back here. Find out what happened to Gafford. We haven't seen him in the second half.
Because he doesn't start. He's in now, Bill.
Gafford's not out there.
He is, number 10.
Oh,
in black.
my gosh.
Arkansas just 2 of 8 from the field here in the second half. Inside, it's short from Anton Beard. Oklahoma looking for the lead.
Oklahoma has been badly outplayed. They're 1 point down.
Jalen Barford lost control. And he gets a timeout to save the possession. Inside, 15 minutes to go. 1 point lead, the Razorbacks leading Oklahoma.
What's more important, possession or the timeout late?
All right, we're in the Moda Center in Portland. And Bill, I got a question for you.
Sure, ask away.
Do you remember 40 years ago today, November 23rd?
November 23rd, 1974?
No, 40 years ago today. This
77.
Is not, there you go.
Okay.
Well, I'll fill you in.
Okay.
It was a home game.
Yes.
Against the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, Artis Gilmore.
You tore up Artis Gilmore for 22 points.
No.
And 15 rebounds in the game.
Did we win?
You won the game.
Okay.
And there were 8 Blazers, including yourself, who were in double figures in that game scoring. As Daniel Gafford with a hoop. Can you name the other 7?
In what year? 77?
40 years ago today. Yes. We already covered that, Bill.
Okay. So, 7 other players or 8 other?
No, there were 7. You're the 8.
Okay. Lionel Hollins.
Lionel Hollins is
77.
1.
Dave Twardzik.
Dave Twardzik is 2.
Bob Gross.
Bob Gross is 3.
Maurice Lucas.
No, Maurice Lucas was hurt. Didn't play in the game.
Didn't play in the Lloyd Neal.
Lloyd Neal, yes.
Corky Calhoun.
Yes.
How many is that?
What are we at, 6?
Okay. Larry Steele.
Larry Steele, yes.
Okay.
And there's one more.
It would not have been Johnny Davis.
It was Johnny Davis.
In
you got them all.
In 77?
77.
Okay.
78.
So, okay.
Good job. You know your teammates.
I love my teammates. My teammates made me who I am.
And a steal by Jimani McNeese and a foul. I'm impressed.
Set your standards higher, please. See, I got confused because when you said 70,
you got confused.
Yes. That's
surprising.
When you said 77, I was thinking of the year we won the championship.
Well, I said 40 years ago today.
Right, but that was in the 77-78
Well, it's November
season.
of 77.
Right.
And 78 was your MVP season.
Well, we won, but I don't know.
You were the MVP. You did more than win.
I loved that team. It was a perfect team in a perfect time in a perfect place. And the volcanoes were erupting. And the rivers were flowing.
Foul on Arkansas as Cameron McGusty was driving.
But I was also guilty of my biggest professional mistake ever.
And?
When I turned Phil Knight down to come and be a part of his Nike family.
You did what?
That's what Lori says. Beautiful play by Matt.
McGusty. And the rebound, Daniel Gafford.
The perimeter shooting for Lon Kruger has just not been acceptable here. And yet they're only down 3 points. If one player gets hot, this guy's hot.
Daryl Macon was 17.
He's been the best player in the game. He and Trey Thompson in completely different roles.
McGusty has his shot blocked by Daniel Gafford.
Send it back. It's got to be the shoes.
Beard to the basket, the kick.
Look at little Anton Beard.
Travel on Beard. 6-point lead for Arkansas. There's still football going on, you know.
Really?
Yes, college football tomorrow. Number 2 Miami tries to stay unbeaten as they take on Pitt. Noon Eastern on ABC and trying to continue their surge to the college football playoff. The Canes, and the Pitt Panthers.
Are they as good as Alabama?
Noon Eastern. We'll find out.
Are they as good as Clemson?
We'll find out.
Are they as good as Ohio State?
They may be better than Ohio
Are
State.
they as good as USC?
They may be better
Are they
than
as good
USC.
as Oklahoma?
That's a good question. That's why they play the games, Bill, and that's why we have a playoff.
And it's a game where anything could happen. Beautiful shot,
Christian
finally.
James, the hoop. You like Baker Mayfield for the Heisman Trophy, though?
I don't have any response to that question.
Do you know who Baker Mayfield is?
No.
Bill, you really got to get out more often.
I'm busy.
Turning down Nike?
I'm guilty. It was the biggest mistake ever. And when Phil handed me the copy of Shoe Dog, he wrote on it, "Walton, you are the slowest learner ever."
Daniel Gafford to the line for Arkansas. Razorbacks clinging to a 4-point lead.
Look at the body on Daniel Gafford here. I mean, he's 6'11". He can't be more than 18 years old. He's just an absolute stud. The size of the players is just staggering. You know, you watch them on TV and they all look like they're, they all look like they're 6'4". And then you go stand next to them and they're like taller than you are, and I'm full 6'11".
9 for Gafford. The lead is 6. 4 fouls on McNeese, by the way, for Oklahoma. The lob
Great
broken up by
defense.
Gafford.
Bill Russell, Akeem Olajuwon, send it back. It's got to be the shoes. Terrible post-entry pass.
But off of Latin, it stays with Arkansas, and Gafford appears to be hurt. Clutching his side. Dustin Thomas coming over to check on him.
The elbow to the ribs.
Inadvertent there from Kadeem Latin.
Kadeem Latin is the spiritual soul of this Oklahoma team. What a family legacy he's got. Gafford.
Gafford rolls off in the rebound. Matt Freeman for the Sooners, but also Mom was a great player. Monica Lamb Powell. Kadeem's mom won 3 WNBA titles with Houston.
In that great run with Van
Jordan
Chancellor.
Shepard a 3.
I love the WNBA.
First 3 for the Sooners in the second half, and it's a 3-point game.
And the fact that the UConn women are right here in the state of Oregon, what number state is Oregon in terms of entrance into the Union?
Shepard the steal, and a foul on Dustin Thomas, his 3rd. It's been back and forth, Bill.
It's the 33rd.
The 33rd state.
Yes.
And their UConn women are 2 hours down the road in Eugene.
Well, I think they're still here in Portland today. The game is Saturday. They should play 2 days straight.
End-to-end, Arkansas leading by 3.
They've led from the outset here.
It's cross-conference chaos of the best kind. The Big Ten ACC Challenge starts Monday.
So the Big Ten ACC Challenge coming up. Duke involved against, they'll be at Indiana. Duke right now in a battle with Portland State as we're in Portland for PK 80, presented by State Farm. Part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. You got your turkey with us?
I am a turkey, and I'm hoping you're going to pardon me.
Are we going to stuff you too?
I'm already stuffed. I'm full of it.
Well, we know that. Trae Young's been quiet here in the second half, Bill.
Great adjustments defensively. Mike Anderson, that's his trademark. You know, he comes out, he challenges you. He doesn't say, okay, I'm just going to let you do what you want to do. I'm going to see and figure out quickly what you can't do, and that's all I'm going to allow you to do.
We saw that fast-paced, high-scoring first half, a little bit slower here in the second half. Both teams struggling offensively. There is Young, who has not scored a point here in the second half.
But just think of, of how Nike approaches things and how they get to where they want to be. They start these days at the top. highest quality, greatest levels of innovation, and then they work it back to consumer products after generating equipment for the best of the best.
First points for C.J. Jones.
The LeBrons, the Roger Federers,
Delay of
the
game
Mia
warning to
Hamms,
Arkansas.
the Ronaldos, John McEnroes.
Chris Rastatter.
You been out to that Nike campus?
Working with Keith Kimball and Anthony Jordan. Yeah, we covered that in the first half.
We did?
Before. Yeah.
Was that today?
The first half was today. They took away the warning as Oklahoma was the last one to touch it. Freeman,
Beautiful.
the lob to Lack.
Throw it down.
And he dunks it for Oklahoma.
Gotta be the shoes, Kadeem. Way to play.
Back to a 1-point game.
The defenders on that break, at some point you've got to stop backing up.
You got to stop the ball, right?
You've got to plant your feet and make a defensive stop.
And a foul will put Darius Hall at the line for Arkansas.
Another one of these young, talented men from Arkansas. So, you've heard of Amazon, not the river.
Yes, I've heard of Amazon.
There's a company called Amazon, and they're looking for a new place to start a second headquarters.
I've read about that.
200,
See, I do read occasionally.
200, I was shocked to hear that. 238 cities applied for that role as host for headquarters number 2. Not a single city from Arkansas applied.
And a foul going for the rebound and clutching the ankle is Rashard Odoms of Oklahoma. Foul is on Darius Hall after he missed the free throw. 2-point lead for the Razorbacks.
Who were your broadcasting heroes growing up?
Bill Walton?
No, you're not old enough for that. So
Bill King was my guy.
So Arkansas produced one of the great legends ever from Fort Smith, Charlie Jones.
Oh, yeah.
So Charlie Jones was right there at the beginning of this whole revolution that Nike ultimately changed the world with.
Here's Rashard Odoms, who was injured on that last play. And he rolled the ankle there.
Do you have a pair of these special shoes yet? That
Not
everybody's
yet.
wearing? Yet is the appropriate word. Beautiful play, Matt Freeman.
And we're tied. Oklahoma's battle back. Christian James with the hoop.
Oklahoma's been outplayed this entire game, and and the way they're going to win this game by 10.
They've trailed by as many as
Lon Kruger, patience.
You know somebody who can get me a pair of those shoes?
Yes. His name is Eric. He's here today.
I've seen him. Jalen Barford with the hoop for the Razorbacks, who reclaimed the lead.
So Macon has not had that sustained excellence.
Matt Freeman for Oklahoma. Now it's picking up again.
Get him the ball, Dustin Thomas, please. Great defense right now by the Sooners.
The left-hand floater, Anton
Kadeem
Beard to miss.
Latt.
Oklahoma looking for the lead.
Pushing the ball out, knowing he couldn't get it himself. Whoa.
That one's wedged up in between the rim and the backboard.
Go get the ball there, Roxy.
We could be here a while if you're looking for me to get it down.
Come on, Air Roxy.
You must have me confused with somebody else.
Lon Kruger, who has his number retired there in Oklahoma.
And it was a family affair for Portland in game one. Terry Porter and his two sons playing for him. Lon has his son Kevin as one of his assistant coaches. He was a really good player himself at Arizona State and UNLV. Dustin Thomas will go to the line.
Dana Altman just passed his 600th victory milestone there. He was an assistant coach at K-State to Lon Kruger. They're great friends, except when it comes to the recruiting of today's superstars. But Lon's number 12 was retired there in Oklahoma, at K-State in 06. He graduated, Lon did, in 1974, 43 years ago. I've been working on my math since you stumped me on that incredibly challenging question.
(2017) minus 40 equals, Bill? You're speechless again.
1977, trying to figure it out. I was trying to think about that Chicago team that had Artis Gilmore, who was just by far the toughest guy to play against. Oh my gosh.
Kadeem Latin has it stripped. The pull-up short from Jalen Barford. The hustle from Thomas. Arkansas regroups here.
Barford hasn't had the game that Mike Anderson needs, yet they're still winning. And why has Trey Thompson been on the bench so long? Oh. This is about
inside 10.
This is the only time all game that the ball stopped.
Out of bounds. Oklahoma ball.
Worst offensive possession for the Razorbacks this tournament.
In the history of the PK80.
Yes, for the Razorbacks.
2-point game. The winner gets North Carolina tomorrow in the victory bracket. In the semifinals, and the loser will come back and play Portland here tomorrow. Motion bracket going on just steps away at the Memorial Coliseum.
Great defense by the Razorbacks.
Stays with Oklahoma. A tight one at the PK80.
What we're looking for here.
We got simultaneous action.
I'm going to run over there during this timeout and check it out. What's the score over there, Duke and Portland State?
Duke's up 15.
So
you can stay here.
I can exhale now.
All right, Matt, an incredible 46 college basketball games on the ESPN networks today and tomorrow alone. From Atlantis, Orlando, New York, and Anaheim, and here in Portland.
None of those places can hold a candle to the great Pacific Northwest.
And the motion bracket, Duke looking to advance, and North Carolina already moving on here in the victory bracket. And they'll play the winner of our game between Arkansas and Oklahoma, and by Sunday night, we will crown two champions here at the PK80, the motion and victory bracket champions.
They're not going to play each other?
They're not. Well, they could meet at some point later this season, but not part of this event.
And then will they give them a special trophy for winning the PK80?
They each will get a special trophy. You know what?
I love
Bill,
special.
Monday night, maybe if you showed up, maybe they'll play here. I'm not saying they will, because
I'm going to come in.
I'm going to clip everybody else in. They're not going to, but Bill may show up to see if they do. And waved off, we're going the other way. And Daniel Gafford called for the turnover. Brady Manick for the lead.
Look at that rebound.
Staying here and a foul on Arkansas going for the rebound.
Mike Anderson cannot believe it. But this is a guy, he's not a whiner and a complainer. I mean, this is...
And the foul is on Gafford, his third. Teams have gone a little cold again as Kadeem Latin missing the front end of the 1-and-1.
The rest of the world is finally coming around to how special this place is that Lewis and Clark found 215 years ago.
Daryl Macon agrees with you. He's got 20. Christian James.
Will somebody please make a jumper for Oklahoma from the perimeter? You know that there's 10 million people now when you go from Vancouver and BC through Seattle and down here to Portland?
Seattle's what, about a 3-hour drive?
Or an 8-hour bike ride.
You can bike really fast then.
For some people, takes me 2 days.
Loose ball, Kadeem Latin controls for the Sooners.
Depends on which direction you're going and the wind.
Trae Young looking to get on track here in the second half. We'll get to the line. Tonight on SportsCenter, 10:30 Eastern, following the Egg Bowl. You know who plays in the Egg Bowl?
In what?
The Egg Bowl.
Probably some eggs.
It's Ole Miss against Mississippi State. While the numbers show that Auburn, good position to pull off the upset in the Iron Bowl. You know who plays in the Iron Bowl?
I'm going to say Washington State.
Oh, you're way off. All Access interview with Lane Kiffin. Take a look at the Cowboys' playoff chances after their battle with the Chargers. Kenny Mayne, you'll watch.
My hero.
Max Bretos on ESPN and also streaming live in the ESPN app.
We need more Kenny Mayne in our lives.
Trae Young hits them both. His first points in the second half. And it's a three-point game, and good to see Rashard Odom's back in for Oklahoma after rolling that ankle.
I love full court pressing.
Well, you're watching the right game if you like it, because both Oklahoma and Arkansas get after you in the foul on Latin. Second on Kadeem Latin.
Here in this city, 40 years ago, the Trailblazers had the fastest backcourt in the history of all of basketball. The other team could not dribble the ball up the court.
Lionel Hollins?
Johnny Davis, the two of them together. Oh my gosh.
1-1.
And every one of the great coaches I ever had in my life, their theory was always about give me a quickness advantage in 3 of the positions on a 5-man roster rotation, and we'll win the game. And when you talk about quickness, think about Bill Bowerman and what he did. Trained more sub-4-minute milers than anyone in the history of the world.
22 for Daryl Macon.
Quickness, who can be there first? That's a traveling violation.
Off balance the miss from Jordan Shepard.
Trey Thompson always in perfect position.
Loose ball forced by Trae Young, who finishes for the Sooners, and he has 20. And after going scoreless for the first 13 minutes of the second half, he's gotten 4 quick points.
Leadership in times of trouble.
Who do you look to in times of trouble?
Mother Mary. Not sure if she's available today.
Shot clock at 5. Tough runner, it goes for Jalen Barford.
His best play in the history of his solid performance in PK80. Oh my gosh. Wait.
Way out there.
You've got to be kidding me.
Trae Young.
How many seconds were on the shot clock there? 20?
He hit that one from Beaverton.
When I lived here, Beaverton was pastures.
And a foul on the 3, and Daryl Macon to the line. He'll shoot 3. Look at this shot, though, from Trae Young. He's 12 feet behind the three-point line.
Why was he even thinking shot there? That's a heat check. What a great game here today. And one of the things that I love so much about Shoe Dog was Phil's relationship with his dad and with Bill Bowerman, which was very similar. A relationship that he described as one based on love, but also consumed with fear. You ever had a relationship like that?
Consumed by fear?
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now.
What are you looking at? Who are these guys? Okay, if you're Trae Young, you just hit a 35-foot shot.
And a foul inside. It's on Trey Thompson of Arkansas.
Then you're going to come down and throw a wild one-hand wraparound pass at the your offhand never even touches the ball. If you're that hot, don't try a pass like that. Cross half court, be like Steph Curry and jack it up and see if it's true.
Well, he did that before.
And it worked. That's called a heat
Steph
check.
Curry does those wraparound passes too.
Yeah, some of those work though.
One more.
That
for
guy's
Latin.
fun to watch. Warriors on as great a run as any team has ever had in the history of basketball.
Although Oklahoma City got him last night.
It's a long season in the NBA. The playoffs start, what, in 6 months?
Pretty much. Barford, short on the three.
I think the Warriors will be fine.
I don't think they're overly concerned.
It's sort of like Duke and Portland State. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Trae Young.
Beautiful. Now that's basketball. Great closeout by Beard.
And a foul. It's on Jalen Barford, his second. And that'll be 3 shots for Trae Young with Oklahoma down 3 and 4.5 minutes remaining. Young is 5 of 5 at the line.
You ever swam across the Columbia River?
I have never swam across the Columbia River. Have you?
Yes.
How many times?
We used to do it every year.
Wow.
On Labor Day. Drive out there to Hood River and swim from the Washington side to the Oregon side.
I've been to Hood River.
Beautiful place. That Columbia Gorge, oh my gosh. 80 miles long, 4,000 feet deep to the top of the Cascades. The only sea level river that comes across the Cascade Mountain Range.
Trae Young, a young career high of 24. He had 22 last time out against Ball State, only his 3rd college game for the McDonald's All-American. One of 3 freshmen to have a double-double in each of his first 2 games this year.
Really?
Yeah. You've seen one of the others.
Probably plays for North Carolina.
No.
Oh, for Georgia Tech.
No.
Ben Lammers?
He's not a freshman.
Okay. Who?
How about Arizona?
Oh, the big
DeAndre
DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
They lost last night to North
did,
Carolina
NC
State. Who's the
State.
coach at NC State?
Kevin Keats, the new coach there, came over from UNC Wilmington.
Tell me something about his history. I've never heard of him.
He had a great
before.
run at Wilmington.
Really?
Last year. Yeah.
Isn't Wilmington Michael Jordan's hometown?
It is.
Isn't Michael Jordan the signature athlete for Nike?
Air Jordan? Yeah.
It does all roll into one.
See?
Beautiful.
But Brandon McCoy from UNLV is the other. And Oklahoma gives it right back. 2-point lead for the Razorbacks, 4:10 to go.
Who was the third?
Trae Young. Well, Trae Young. Brandon McCoy from UNLV.
I don't know him, though. Who's coaching at UNLV now?
Marvin Menzies.
They've never really recovered from the brilliance of Jerry Tarkanian's Hall of Fame career. And that's the entire story of Jerry. And that's why his story is the greatest story ever told. And have you read Runnin' Rebel?
I didn't know there was a book Runnin' Rebel.
Oh,
I got to get my hands on it then.
Dan Wetzel.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant. When you read that book, you'll understand why it is the greatest story ever told. Because every place that Jerry Tarkanian went to coach, they had never won before. They won everything while he was there, and as soon as he left, they never won again.
Inside 4 minutes in a 2-point game.
Jerry Tarkanian was a Nike guy.
Shot clock at 5. Barford, step back, long 2, foul on the shot by Christian James. Well, somebody, Bill, they took a long shot.
Yeah, but the other one went in.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball. Presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm.
How deep is that Columbia Gorge? How deep is Snake River Hell's Canyon?
Time to check out our assist of the game, brought to you by State Farm and the Oklahoma Sooners. To Kadeem Lyon.
It's got to be the shoes.
Look like Lionel Hollins to Bill Walton right there.
Lionel never had to do that. Nobody was catching him from behind. Lionel.
Did he ever feed you like that?
He didn't need to. He was going to finish it himself.
Could you finish like that?
No. I was there when Lionel Hollins came down the court one-on-one in the fast break against John Havlicek. And John Havlicek, they were the reigning champions of the NBA, and he was playing defense on Lionel, and he stopped to try to take a charge one-on-one in the fast break. Lionel jumped over the top of him, threw it down, landed, and then just turned and kept right on running up the court before John had ever turned around. It was staggering. I was there.
What did you do?
My jaw dropped because John Havlicek was one of the greatest players ever, and Lionel was just getting started, and he was such a brilliant player and such a wonderful human being. His number 14 high above the rafters here at the Rose Garden.
The block from Jalen Barford. They kept alive by Oklahoma. 3-point game. Scooping it. Jordan Shepard with the hoop.
Can't believe that Daniel Gafford is not sending all of those back.
He can't block every shot, Bill.
Why not?
And a foul will put Arkansas at the line and Daryl Make into the strike. Winner gets North Carolina tomorrow in the semifinals.
How about the depth of the SEC, excuse me. I mean, Kentucky always at the top. Florida is an excellent team.
And they're here. They're in the motion bracket.
They've got 2 of the 13 titles in the last 18 years represented here in this Tournament of Champions. Texas A&M, they got a big guy, right? We're going to see him.
You're going to see him.
You're not going to be there?
No.
Where are you going to be?
I'm not going to be there.
There is Phoenix. That's December 5th, right? Tuesday.
You'll be with Dave.
Ooh.
You know Dave. And a foul in Oklahoma. Back to the line at Christian James. That's on Gafford. He tried to block that one.
How about Avery Johnson getting Alabama respectable in the SEC?
In Tennessee today, hung with Villanova until the end, until Villanova finally put it away.
Rick Barnes. That guy belongs in the Hall of Fame, too.
One more for James, 1 of 3 at the line. And of course, I mean, South Carolina, we'll see what Frank Martin has, but that great run they had last year.
Sad about the guy Porter from Missouri, Conzo. Although you're probably done with Conzo after he left Cal Berkeley.
No, I'm fine with Conzo. I don't blame Conzo.
Really?
If somebody offered me $3 million a year, I'd go too.
Really? So that's it with you. It's all about the money, right? That's all you care about?
Hey, Bill, you turned down Nike.
Right.
You don't have any room to talk. It's Kadeem Latin, a hard fall.
It was not my deal. Then, things have changed, which is the way Bob Dylan opens the show these days on the Never-Ending World Tour. He's going to take the break after this week in the Beacon Theater.
Kadeem Latin, good to see him okay after that hard fall. He took a walk, a spin up and down the floor to make sure he was okay. Foul was on Young.
Arkansas lost 3 seniors from last year's team. Strong start in conference play for Arkansas a year ago, 10-2. You know, really nice. And then they lost in the conference tourney final to Kentucky.
Finished 3rd in the SEC last year, went 12-6 in league play, and 26 wins last year for Mike Anderson of the Razorbacks.
The guy's an outstanding coach, and he develops his players as men. But it's the challenge for these teams. You know, Oklahoma's got the same challenge in the Big 12. Kansas wins the championship every year. I mean, they got the record now. They've tied UCLA's record at 13, right? And they're going for more.
Dustin Thomas now 2 of 3 at the line.
And didn't Kansas beat Kentucky when we were in China? In the,
yes.
What do they call that? The Champions Classic?
Champions Classic. 1 out of 2 for Thomas.
This is the tournament of champions here. This is the longest shot clock possession in the history of this game.
Here's Trae Young on the drive.
Traveling by.
Shovels it to Latin. Falls off. Out of bounds. Oklahoma ball.
As the quality of play gets better and you step up to the North Carolina level, the champion, the difference is always size, speed, skill, and spacing. And that's what these teams here need to work on. They don't have the size that North Carolina has. They got a lot of speed. They got nice skill. They just need to develop better spacing. This guy can do it right there. Got to get in the air, Kadeem.
Miscommunication there between Brady Manick and Kadeem Latin. 2 minutes to go. Razorbacks to the ball in a 4-point lead.
You're not going to call that a shot by Brady?
I'm going to call it a bad pass. I'm going to give him credit because he's a much better shooter than
It was a little too early. It's a good idea. It just Kadeem was a little bit slow and the pass was released before Kadeem would make the jump. Let it fly.
Beard for 3.
Whoa.
And Kadeem Latin clears.
Great closeout by James for Lon Kruger.
90 seconds remain. And a foul on the drive. And it's on Dustin Thomas of Arkansas. That's 4.
Come on, if you're going to make a call like that, the guy's dribbling with his offhand away from the basket.
Next door, Butler and Texas getting ready for game 2 of the motion bracket.
These guys have been so fierce all day, Kentucky, Oklahoma and Arkansas. I mean, you call a little touch foul like that when the guy had no chance to make a play.
But he was making a pass, and he did bump him, Bill.
Please. Excuses, whining, complaining. Go back to Foot Locker where you belong.
26 now for Young.
Pressure on the ball. Doesn't phase Macon at all. How many points does he have in the second compared to the first half?
Macon?
Yeah.
I think he only has 4 since halftime.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. Just like you draw it up. An 18-foot fade away.
You expected that to go in, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. From your 6'11 freshman from El Dorado.
Reynolds out, Gafford the rebound, out of bounds, Oklahoma ball. 48.9 to go.
A lot of time, an eternity. Brilliant coaches, head-to-head with strategy, more importantly, the long-term commitment to skill development. They're going to have to take a timeout and talk this one over as we'll take a big, deep breath. Maybe go out to the river for a moment and listen to the...
Or maybe I can read a book.
I got a lot of good ones for you to recommend.
You have been the whole game. So official review to see if it is a Sooner ball with 48.9 to go. And here is our victory bracket. The winner gets North Carolina tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern. And tomorrow we'll be steps away in the house you used to dominate it. We'll be in Memorial Coliseum, the Glass Palace. We'll be in the Glass Palace tomorrow, while the motion bracket moves into the Moda Center tomorrow.
Really? Interesting.
It's great when you got these two arenas right next door to one another as they're reviewing this. The former home of the Blazers and the current home of the Blazers, which is the Moda Center. Out of bounds off of who hit it last?
It's off the leg of Gafford. Right
appeared to hit the arm of Gafford going out there. Speaking of the Blazers, you know who their coach is?
Their coach, Terry Stotts.
Yes. Do you know where he went to school?
No.
He went to one of these schools.
Oh, for college. I thought you meant elementary school.
That, I don't know where he went to elementary school. I know where he went to college.
Oklahoma.
He did. So he has a little bit of invested interest in this one.
I had a 50-50 chance.
You did.
Blazers on the road this week. What guards they have. Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum. Wow.
Stays with Oklahoma. Trae Young on the drive. Young misses everything as Gafford, who is fouled with 38.1 to go.
Shades of Corliss Williamson just gobbling up everything on Turkey Day. What's Corliss doing these days?
A good question.
He down with Orlando in the NBA now?
Gafford to the line. Foul was on Trae Young, his second. Gafford 3 of 4 at the line. 11 points for the freshman off the bench and 8 rebounds.
Who's the best shooting big man free throw shooter you've ever seen?
One more for Gafford.
Who would you want on the line? You got to be over 6'10".
6'10" or over?
Over, yeah.
Kevin Durant?
He's over 6'10". That guy's awesome. Dirk Nowitzki?
Nowitzki's a good one too.
Jack Sikma? Robert Parrish, the Chief.
Trae Young to the basket.
Get a rebound one time.
And Arkansas controls.
They're going to
the Razorbacks up 6 with the ball.
Move the ball, please.
Beard is fouled.
What kind of free throw shooter is him?
Is Beard?
Yes, is he? I've
He's
never
14
seen
of 16
on the year
this season.
That's a lot of free throws.
Last year he was a 75% foul shooter. So Beard will shoot 2. Third foul on Kadeem Lott.
I prefer guys who pass the ball in that situation.
Keep the ball moving, keep the
ball
clock going.
moving because the rules are you have to foul the ball.
Anton Beard shooting 2. And the senior, nothing but net. 11 for Beard today.
Senior leadership, and both of these schools are, guys are looking to build 4-year program players. Beautiful stroke.
And Arkansas, one of the most experienced teams in the country, with 6 seniors.
So now we have our first upset in the history of PK80.
Trae Young with the bucket. Timeout Oklahoma. So you're calling this an upset?
Well, this is a 4-5 matchup, right?
Essentially, that's what it is.
I mean, essentially, it's what it is. Macon had a great start today. 27 points. Most of his damage was done early. Set the tempo, gave his teammates confidence, played off Trey Thompson beautifully. And we saw incredible skill and touch, creative imagination, all the things that go into making Nike the greatest sports company in the history of the world.
Macon, who had a career-high 30 last year against Ole Miss.
Have you been to the Nike store here in Portland yet?
I have. Not this trip, but I have been there before.
The retail store right downtown, right on the edge of Pioneer Square.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah, on this trip.
Not on this trip. On previous trips to Portland, but not this particular trip.
So you've got Berkeley and Jake here. What have you been doing? Have you taken them to the zoo?
I've got to work, Bill.
Please. That's my excuse. You gotta have your own excuse.
I can't use the same one.
No.
I've got to prepare for you.
What was the guy?
That's work.
J.R. Ryder for the Blazers, he was the king of excuses. He was always late to everything, if he showed up at all. And
he was a Bay Area legend. He's from the Bay Area.
Four different times, he used the excuse that his grandmother had died. And that's why he couldn't be there.
And a foul, 15.6 remaining.
Who can shoot free throws?
We'll see if Jalen Barford can, as Arkansas has hit him here in the second half. They are 19 of 23 at the line since halftime.
All the great players over the years. 6 Final Fours for the Arkansas Razorbacks. 1941, were you there for that one?
A little before my time.
How about 45?
Still wasn't around for
How
that
about
one.
78?
I was around for that one, don't
Eddie
really remember.
Sutton, Sidney Moncrief, Ron Brewer, Marvin Delph. Yes. How about 90, 94, and 95?
I remember those. Barford 1 of 2 at the line.
Who was in Nolan Richardson's Hall of Fame class?
You're about to tell me.
I'm going to wait and see if you do any homework tomorrow. Because we're going to have them again tomorrow. And
Yes,
how
we
lucky
are.
we? It was headed by David Stern. And as Phil Knight is the most important man in the history of all sport, David Stern, the most important man in the history of basketball. Because these guys were able to make a business out of a game. Dustin Thomas, fantastic performance.
And Kadeem Lattin with a foul, 1.9 to go. So Arkansas will move on to the semifinals. And after they saw their season end in the second round of the NCAA tournament to North Carolina last year, they'll face the Tar Heels here tomorrow in the semifinals. And next door, Butler in Texas.
So
the motion bracket ready to continue.
What's that guy's name at Texas? You said the big guy?
Mo Bamba?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mo Bamba. Is that like
Oh.
Mo Bamba? Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Shaka Smart's their coach.
That I do know.
Okay. 92-83 Arkansas with the win. And the Razorbacks are 4-0 for the second time in the last 11 seasons. And after losing to the Tar Heels in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year, Mike Anderson's team will get a crack at the Tar Heels here in Portland.
This is a wake-up for Lon Kruger and the Oklahoma Sooners. Wow, what a solid performance by Mike Anderson and his Razorbacks. Sharp as can be, snarling, coming out with an edge, with a chip early on, and they delivered. Congratulations, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Daryl Macon, 27 points to lead Arkansas. As a big day for the senior from Little Rock.
And so they
His
play.
fifth career 20-point game and his second already in this young season.
So they play North Carolina.
They do.
Guards.
And Oklahoma
Okay.
will play Portland. But Jeff Goodman,
He's
back.
back.
He's back. And he's with Daryl Macon.
Daryl, 27 points, 6 from 8 from 3. I saw how fired you up you were after that game. Why?
I just play with a chip on my shoulder every game. I feel like Arkansas Razorbacks don't get the respect we deserve. We work so hard. We work just as hard as everybody else in the country. We just want our respect.
Next up, you know who, the Carolina Tar Heels. They beat you last year in the NCAA tournament. Why will this result be different?
It's just another game. That's how I'm taking it. It's just another game. We're going to come out, play with the same intensity. We're just going to play ball.
All right, you heard it. Just another game, Roxy.
I don't believe it. Mr. Macon, bring that chip tomorrow. Go talk to your coach right now.
So they get number 9 North Carolina tomorrow in the victory bracket as Macon leads Arkansas with 27. Still great action to come from the PK 80 in Portland, but for now we go to the studio. Matt Schick, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams.